Hey, welcome, welcome. Do pop your name in the chat. Let me know where you're calling in from and let me know how your stress is going. Any changes so far? So today I want to ask you what the effect of the stress and the negativity that generally surrounds stress is having on your life. So we spoke the last 2 days about what's causing you the stress. And ironically, these are the things that are also being most impacted by the stress, which is not surprising, right? They're the things that are the most meaningful in your life. So where relationships were really meaningful for you and you're having struggles, when you're stressed, and particularly when you're negative, it makes you defensive, it makes you needy, and you complain a lot. These are not attractive qualities, and you probably don't find them attractive in others either. So not just love relationships, but important key relationships at home or at work. Also, we talked about fitness and wellness, both physically and mentally. And when you're stressed and negative, your blood pressure is high, illnesses are high. There is so much research there at the moment, I can't even get into it. If that interests you, go Google it. Then there is the idea that you've got competing priorities. If you've got stress, you're resisting actually engaging with it anyway. And if you're negative, you're believing you're not going to get there. So you will just endlessly struggle. If you want to stop endlessly struggling, you have to get yourself out of stress and out of negativity. It's the only way. The other thing was that your work will suffer, your career. That's another place where you might be feeling frustrated. Well, stress and negativity are going to reduce your productivity and reduce your ability to focus because all you're doing is wishing it wasn't so. And that's not productive, obviously. Last of all, you might be suffering from the global chaos. Well, if you've got stress and negativity, you also will really lose connection and meaning. And as we'll see today, they are your driving factors for getting you out of this and into something much more appealing for life. So without further ado, let's move on. So today is powerful, positive purpose. Mouthful. Monday, we looked at creating clarity. So why stress is a form of resistance that we don't want to engage with. Then Tuesday, we looked at all the sane options for dealing with stress. So either accept it, change it, or leave it. And today we're going to look at how you set this new direction for this person who can do that. Because many people feel they can't change direction, they can't make that decision. So how do you do that? And create this bigger yes in your life that isn't, I'm about to die and I need to survive, which will trump everything else. Tomorrow, we're going to look at how you gracefully grow into this person, because you don't just switch overnight and become somebody new. That's not how it works. Even though this new person is somebody you already are, right? I'm not suggesting you change personality and become some weird freak. This is about expressing that part of you that's already there, that just is kind of locked in the boot of your car if you're driving along life's highway. That's why the metaphor I used in my book, Unstuck. Finally, on Friday, I'll answer all your questions about, but Liz, what about this? What about that? Which is always good fun. So first of all, mindset hacks to quickly embrace so that you do this right. Because otherwise you will go down a little pit of misery. So your brilliant mind is like Google. It will answer the questions you ask it. So remember, I was telling you I collect questions like, what would it take to do this for me? How could I do X in 6 months? So asking these kind of questions of your brain forces you to come out with an answer, much like asking ChatGPT. Your brain works that way too. If you say, why are we doomed? Your brain will come back with lots of very compelling answers, which is not good. So this is massively helpful, you can see, for becoming that kind of person you want to become. And it's key to this curiosity mindset. You want to be thinking, how can I do this? Not, how can I avoid that? So remember my smoking friend from yesterday. I didn't ask her to try and stop smoking or think bad things about smoking or imagine she was going to vomit if she smoked. No, because that would focus her on smoking. What I asked her to do was imagine being a sexy runner instead. And that did work. Remember, I was all bruised and battered. I didn't think, how should I be less clumsy? Why am I such a moron? No, I thought, I'm elegant and graceful. How can I look more elegant and graceful? How can I glide into rooms? So this is how the law of attraction works as well. This is a bit like the buffet table. I get more of what I focus on, more of what I'm interested in. That's the curiosity mindset. And that is absolutely where you want to be to get yourself out of stress. The next mindset to embrace is abundance. So this is believing that it's possible. So asking yourself questions like, what if it was true? What if it was possible? What if it was easy? What if somebody's already fixed it? What if I can just Google the answer? What if I can have everything? By the way, you can have everything, but you're smart. You don't want everything all at once. It's like having every fabulous dinner you'll ever have all at once. No, that's not what you want. And lastly, gratitude is the best hack of all. Gratitude is emotional, and emotions drive everything we do. Emotion comes from the Latin word immovere, which means to move. So think about what you're grateful for. You might have to start really basic in the beginning until you get used to this. So are you warm, safe, and dry? Like, that's pretty amazing. Most people in the world can't say that. Are your bills paid? Now I'm starting to touch buttons, I know. If you have debts, rather than focusing on how miserable it all is and how doomed you are, try appreciating that you were credit worthy enough to be lent money. Now, I know we could get into the whole society says is built on this culture of debt and it's terrible, but that will not help. It will drive you further into debt, believe it or not. So what you want to do is think, how credit worthy am I? Why am I so credit worthy? Why am I such a great person to lend money to? It must be because I have the capacity to earn it back. And now start going along that road. You want to get over the resistance, because the resistance is what's hurting you and keeping you stuck in stress. Remember, day one. Okay, so these 3 mindset hacks are going to allow you to stay in the mode of solving this rather than falling into the pit of going down a deep, dark, negative hole, which is totally unattractive, will push everybody away from you too. Don't want to do that. Okay, so I've got a couple of tools for you. So the first one is the soul multivitamins, as I call them. This is actually called self-determination theory, for those of you that like the labels and want to go and look at all the research. And basically there's three flavors to this, 3 vitamins, if you like. Autonomy or freedom, which everybody wants. If I ask everybody the magic wand question, what do you want? Almost everybody will say they want freedom. And what people want from freedom is the ability to choose. People don't want to be completely free with nowhere to live and nobody to belong to and nothing that they have to do, because actually that's quite empty and quite scary. What they want is the ability to choose what they do, who they do it with, where they are, how often, etc. And this is about aligning your values and your interests. And we'll talk about that in a bit later. The second one is competence. So this is the ability that you have capability. We are seeking mastery of all sorts of things. And expansion, as I mentioned in the start of the week, is one of the meanings of life. We want to grow. Instinctively, we want more, whether that's money or skills or people or love or connections or whatever. So thinking about what you can do is a way of getting that multivitamin. The third one is relatedness. And this is this feeling that I matter, the connection, the belongingness. It doesn't matter how much money, friends, social media followings, how many private jets you've got. If you don't matter to anybody, if those friends are all vacuous and there's no one love relationship in your life, you will start to feel a little bit empty. So this is why money is not the answer to everything. So I want you to experience how easy it is to take these soul multivitamins. So if you're watching this on the replay, press pause and write down 3 things for each. If you're doing this with me now, let's just do 1 for each. So autonomy, what things can you choose? For those of you whose minds are going blank, presumably you can choose what to wear in the morning, what you eat for breakfast. Some of you can choose what you do in the day, how you do your work, if you've got diary autonomy. Okay, now what things can you do? What competences do you have? Can you drive a car? Can you make amazing scrambled eggs? Can you code in Java. Think of some things that you can do. The very basic run through I'm giving you here is to just get you going. Once you get going with this, you'll find you get things that are more meaningful to you, that make you excited, that make you proud. That's when you know you're really nailing it, this exercise. Okay, last one, relatedness. Who do you matter to? Who cares about you? Think about who rings you often, who do you talk to every day, who would notice if you stopped communicating with the world? Those people you matter to. And they could be work people, it could be family, it could be friends. You can put your dog, but only as a last resort to get your brain going. Okay, so now you've taken your soul multivitamins, that should leave you feeling a little bit better. And the reason I want you to feel better is because to get in this positive mindset, you need to get those positive emotions going. You need to sort your brain out to get it thinking right with those mindset hacks. And you need to get your emotions flowing by taking your soul multivitamins and believing that it's all possible, that you're the kind of person that can. So now we're trying to think, who am I becoming? What is my purpose? What's my drive? And that will also give you more of those hits of these soul multivitamins. So I developed this little model for my book that's coming out next. And it's kind of a bit of ikigai for those of you who like that kind of thinking. And what it's looking at is the whole of your world. What switches you on? So if you start anywhere you like. So if we start at the top with who are your people? Who do you feel aligned to? Who do you love being around? Who are you interested in? And it doesn't matter if they're on the other side of the planet. It doesn't matter if they're scattered across every society on the planet. It could be a demographic, it could be an interest, it could be anything. But who do you feel like your people are? Right? Then we'll go around, right? What are you passionate about? What can you talk about all the time? What do you find yourself talking about all the time? Write that down. How do you use your talents? So what do you do a lot of? So for me, it's communication. I like writing or speaking or presenting training courses or coaching or standing on a stage. Anything that has to do with communicating, that's what I'm in love with. That's what I read books about. So it's also what I'm passionate about. So you might find you get similar things in these two lists. That's okay, no problem at all. Remember, this isn't schoolwork. We're not trying to get the perfect thing right. We're trying to hit on your soul source. What is it that makes you you? What is your purpose? Now, what about your why? Why does anything matter to you? So for me, things matter if it makes people happier and they treat other people better and they make better decisions and the world is a better place. That's what's important to me. That won't be necessarily what's important to you, but find out what's your why. And it might be connected to your who, your what, or your how. Probably is. And you'll see those little white sort of sweeties around the outside show you what other benefits you get from lining up with these things. Remember I said if you can line up your values and your interests. So if you can line up who you're aligned to with what you're doing, you'll find you feel trust far more easily. If you can line up who you're aligned to and what you're passionate about, you'll start to feel joy. I promise. If you start to line up how you use your talents and what you're passionate about, so you're doing things for other people generally in this part, you'll find meaning. You will feel really purposeful. If you start to line up how you use your talents and who you're aligned to, you'll start to feel connection. So when you're doing things for people, you'll naturally create relationship with them. And if you put all of this in a place where you feel you belong and feel good about yourself, this is important, which is probably connected to all of those pieces, which is why I've put it in the background. You will be living on purpose. You will have this positive feeling that I'm purposefully impacting the world in a way that feels good. You know, I think it was Lisa Nichols that said, success is feeling good about who you are, what you do, and how you do it. This is how to find that. And this doesn't mean you have to change your job. This is about your true north. Like, what are you doing in the world? And you can do that in any kind of way you want. If we work together, we deep dive into this a whole lot more. But this should give you a real flavor. The other thing it might do for you is give you a real ache, like, oh, I don't really know anything in the who box, or I don't really know where. So if you know one bit's missing, that's another great place to start, sort of asking yourself those questions. Again, from a curious, positive, abundant point of view, where would I find somewhere where I belong? Where feels good to me? Who feels like my tribe? Who feels similar to me? Okay, so coming up to time. So what can you do? So the first thing you can do is stop complaining. That is anchoring you in this stress. It's toxic. It pushes people away. It makes you feel bad. It does dreadful things to your chemistry in your body. Stop. I know it's really, really hard, and it feels kind of like a, I don't know, like a softening pillow over the stress, but it's really not. So stop that straight away. If you just did that one thing, you'd feel so much better. The next step is to get grateful. Even if it's really small, try and do it every morning before you start the day. It will just get you off with that right intent at the start of the day. Remember, we said that on day one. Start with the right intent. Getting grateful is a really good way to do that. Do finish this week. Do finish all 5 sections. You'll find that there's something in everything every day for you. And the last one, we talk about the buffet table every single day because it's so powerful. This is kind of like the law of attraction piece of how you make it a bit effortless for yourself. So remember, you're focusing on purpose. So think about the things on that diagram, your who, what, where, why, and where, who, what, where, why. And focus on those. How do I get more of that? Another great question to ask yourself. And you'll find that the more you focus on that, the more of it will flow to you. As always, if you've got any questions, do send me a DM. And if you just can't wait to get going, I have a couple of coaching slots open if you want to take me up on those. There's another program coming, which I'll tell you more about on Friday. But for now, have a great rest of the week and get this into practice. Bye. See you soon. Bye.